If you're listening on podcast, be sure to tune in to our YouTube channel on YouTube at Wild and Weird WV.
Welcome to Wild and Weird Radio, a Wild and Weird West Virginia podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, welcome back to Wild and Weird Radio. Thank you again for joining us. This is a very special episode because...
Oh, does Joe get kidnapped by a bunch of armed thugs?
One can only hope.
No?
I hope if they don't bring me back. My kids dragged me off into the woods and abandoned me. But we're covering actually a video that we just released over on our YouTube. You guys can go check that out. We were interviewing a very good friend of ours, and you can see all that. But we're going to be providing some commentary on some of the other stuff that took place that may or may not be featured in the video. And also, this is our episode pre-Wood Booger. So if you're listening to this episode right now, and it is Friday, May the 19th, you've got one day. You can make it out to Wood Booger, come out and hang out with the Wild and Weird crew and all of the folks over at John Slack Park in Racine, West Virginia. It's going to be an absolute blast. And then there was another tidbit. You guys have just supported us and sent us to the moon. And we've told you that was going to be rewarded. And that is going to be coming up soon, okay? So I think, Ron, we have officially entered into phase 2 of 2023. Is that correct?
Yeah, phase 2 is well underway, and phase 3 is now in the planning stages. So, yeah, it looks good. It looks really, really good. And a huge thank you to everybody who absolutely helped us to achieve our goal. You know, like Joe said, it was a big step for us.
Tell them what the goal is.
We hit our 4,000 hour mark. We hit our 4,000 hour mark on YouTube. We're now monetized. We can now do all kinds of fun little things. Yeah. We can even have a little exclusive club if we want to, but we're not going to do that. But you know, maybe one day in the future, who knows? If people, you know, really enjoy some of our content and whatnot, sure, I could see that happening. But right now, we're not doing that. Right now, we're giving everybody everything that we've always done. And it's always going to be what it is. Good quality entertainment. And what's the other thing? Fun. Yeah.
I have an idea for the reward.
What's the reward, Brandon?
Film that video of Joe spider walking.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, God.
Well, you know what? That would require another part of the phase, I'm afraid, if we did that. Maybe we'll do that on our live, and if people want to super chat, you know, and send us like, you know, $5-10, we might actually do that.
Get me spider walking through the woods.
Could do that.
That is just pure terror.
I know. I could do that, though. I mean, I think that would be
chaps.
That'd be great, right, guys? No.
But realistically, what this does mean for you guys is that the content's actually going to be able to get better. Because we're now going to be able to not have to dip into our funds to continue to keep this stuff free for everybody. And the support that you guys do give us month to month, whether you're buying something or you make a donation of some sort, like many have in the past, that goes towards new equipment. It goes towards being able to actually go out and, you know, throw some gas in the truck and get us out in the woods somewhere and create and generate more content.
Yeah, like when our cameras decide to commit suicide.
It happens.
Yeah.
The thing is, when you have a lot of equipment, you know, you can expect a lot of equipment failures, and you know, some of those things have to be replaced. You know, like
and just here, for example, here recently, before this took place, we've had 2 cameras go down on the show here, and we've had to replace those cameras. And
I blame ghosts on that.
Was it like a month apart that they happened?
It's ghosts, man.
Yeah.
It's ghosts.
But now with thanks to your all support and everything that you've done to help us, and the shares, the likes, and the subscribes, it's really pushed us over the top here, and
We can probably afford a cup of coffee. Is what he's saying.
we can actually buy some coffee when we're on the road now.
Maybe, I don't know. It's possible. Brandon, do we have news tonight? Do we have anything that you can think of? I mean,
It happened this week.
I don't know. I mean, do what everybody else does when it comes to the news.
Well, there was something that happened that I thought was interesting. Brandon Fugel tweeted out that Skinwalker Ranch is getting a spinoff series.
Oh boy, yeah, that's really cool.
It'll be a whole full-blown series by itself. It's not going to be like a one-shot thing. It's going to be called Beyond the Ranch. They haven't said exactly where they're going.
Everywhere. They're going everywhere. That's where they're going, because it's the same thing we've already seen. This stuff isn't localized to one single place.
I imagine somewhere in this state they'll wind up.
I don't know. Maybe for a little bit of a, shock value or something. But I can guarantee you that I know a certain ridge up north that they'll probably land upon.
Probably.
Oh,
And for sure. But we've said this. I mean, we've caught stuff in multiple locations now that seems to be the same kind of thing. Whether it is, I don't know. I mean, that's for anyone's to guess. But then again, I'm not a multimillionaire, and I do not have the resources that Brandon Fugel has. Yeah.
Remember, we did just hit the big red YouTube signal now.
Gosh,
So,
yeah. I completely
sky's the limit.
forgot. Yeah, sure. Okay. Better start
That
manifesting.
video of Joe spider walking the chaps is going to blow us to the moon.
No, man.
Dude, I bet it would.
Man.
I bet it would.
I'm thinking you guys might need a new host.
Well,
Yeah.
there's two bits of news that I did find interesting myself.
Oh, what was that? What was that?
The Royal X-Files are possibly getting ready to get dropped into the public's lap.
Oh, yeah, that.
And that means all the UFO UAP stuff from the UK. Nick Pope has been begging for it to get released, and there's a good chance that it might get dropped soon.
Really?
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
I wonder if he still has some strings he can pull, where he used to be pretty high up in their government.
Yeah, I mean, he was the top dog in that whole chain of command there for a while, and it would be amazing to see what they could reveal, because it could correlate with some of the stuff that the U.S. has been finding, and it would be public knowledge. It wouldn't just be all behind closed doors the way things are currently being done for us.
Well, we're special, but we see that NASA's supposed to do some press briefing or something, Brandon, and isn't that coming up? I mean, by press briefing, I mean kind of like what they did before, where they get all excited about nothing.
I almost forgot about that. I think that's tomorrow, isn't it?
I think it is tomorrow, but I'm expecting it to be kind of like the last one. They insinuated that they had found life on another planet, but it was like bacterial, right? That's the way it started. Was that what they said last time?
Yeah, they found fossilized bacteria. It wasn't even like...
Yeah, that's it.
And then they argued about if that was real or not, by the way.
Yeah, they debated whether or not it was even real. So I'm not getting too excited. We'll see what happens. But...
No, I'm definitely not getting excited. I think that there's I don't know, there's this move that seems to be taking place where we said it. One side seems to release something, and the other side comes out and says, "Oh no, it's all just swamp gas and baloney," and then tries to explain it away with current technology. We saw that back during 2017 when the Tic Tacs came out. All of a sudden, here's this, oh look, we have patents for this warp vehicle and blah blah. No, we don't. We have patents for it. That doesn't mean we know how to build it.
Because the patent that was, if you paid attention to the patent, it was a theoretical patent.
Yeah, I mean, I can theoretically patent a device that lets me turn the sun into negative energy. It doesn't mean I know how to do it, but
Right.
that means if you build one, I can sue you. That's what it
Yep.
means.
That's
So,
exactly what it means. It was a
and that's all
patentable
it means.
idea.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
literally
it's on the
all it means.
31st, by the way.
What's
Oh, it is the
that?
31st.
Yeah,
Oh,
Wednesday
the
the
thing.
31st.
Is that when they're
So
going
it's
to do
another
it?
2 weeks out.
Oh boy, I have a
Well,
feeling.
if that falls on the right day, we could probably run something live on it.
There's probably not going to be much point to do that.
I know but
Yeah,
it'll be funny. We could
It
we
could
could
be funny.
pull a Mystery Science Theater
Ah, man.
Wild and Weird edition.
I don't know. Speaking of Mystery Science Theater, DARPA unveiled the X-65
Yep.
mega crazy space plane thing from another dimension, didn't
Yeah,
they?
that thing's a trip.
Yeah, it's a trip. So basically, it's a technology platform that allows this vehicle to maneuver by controlling the airflow around it somehow. That's what it does. For better or worse, I don't know what
Maybe
that
it has a
means.
micro harp device on it.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm just wondering if it has like a, oh, I don't know, maybe like Dyson got involved with them or something, and it's kind of like that. It's like one of those hair dryers or that.
Especially the
they
way
made a
the
flying
wing
vacuum.
system is made like a foil
Yeah.
system and not a traditional wing.
It's weird. But again, are we talking about, something that's spectacularly amazing, or are we talking about something that's just happened to come out right now, conveniently, to try to explain away some things that are
That reminds me of when Russia
kind
put
of,
out that prototype that they made all of a sudden that happened to look like a UAP.
wow.
They never actually mass produced it.
Yeah.
Right after
Wow.
the government started all these videos got.
Dude, it's almost like the Avro car, back in the day.
Yep. Now, one last thing here in the news. We had spoke about it on the live. Doug Hychick's Legend Meets Science 2 actually got fully funded earlier today. So it met its $80,000 mark. The majority of that money is actually going to be going towards DNA testing and other kind of very sensitive testing regimens that they're going to be running on different specimens. And but it got greenlit. Everything's a go. They met their minimum funding, and they're going to be able to go forward making Legend Meets Science 2, the documentary, and the companion book like they did with the first one.
Wow,
And,
really?
Yeah, it's really exciting because Legend Meets Science 1 was one of the Paramount documentaries on the topic of Bigfoot, because there was a lot of information that was dumped out. Right, that's when we found out the depth of some of the involvement in these universities were with their labs, and how which schools were actually taking an interest in it, and maybe not necessarily took it as seriously as some of the other researchers did, but were at least putting forth an effort to identify some of these samples. And a lot of it came back as unknowns. And they're going to be running some more sample tests. They're going to be traveling all over North America and filming with various researchers. Really cool. It's going to be really cool to see it all come together.
That's really cool. In actual late breaking news, this literally just came across the desk, honestly, right at the bottom of my screen. It said breaking news. 11 hours ago, former Air Force captain describes UFO encounter at nuclear missile base. Apparently, former United States Air Force captain and nuclear missile crew commander, we know who this is, Robert Salas, who served at Maelstrom Air Force Base. He is now in a National Geographic UK series, the UFO Investigating the Unknown. It's this week, and he is telling his story once again about. Mm-hmm. Yep. So more and more of this is, it's all starting to come out now. We're getting to see this in higher end places like National Geographic, for example.
So far, I think that's actually one of the highest profile networks that's ran this.
Yeah.
Because you know what this means, right? National Geographic's running it. It's going to wind up on Disney Plus.
Yeah. So we'll get to see this eventually and, figure out what it's all about. but it does look promising. I will say that because, I mean, they don't typically touch things unless there's a reason. You know what I mean?
Well, part of it too, I think, has to do with the fact that Disney kind of owns National Geographic now.
Well, yeah.
And Walt
Yeah.
Walt actually had a fascination with
Yeah.
future technology and
Oh, yeah.
UFOs and
I
things
mean,
of that nature.
look at Epcot
Yeah,
Center. And that's,
There's some of this. This
Yeah.
is going right along with Walt's plan to a degree, I guess you could say, because if you look at Epcot and some of the stuff that was there is all future driven and
Yeah.
high tech craziness and UFOs and spaceships and
Yeah. It's true. Yeah.
It's really cool that National Geographic's now taking a hold of this because they're a very reputable source. You got National Geographic magazine. How many times have you held a National Geographic magazine and seen the picture on the front and it's just this world-class photo? And I remember the first time that I remember them really delving into the UFO topic in recent years was the images from Green Bank that I sent Ron, that they had tacked on the front of their magazine. It said, the search for life out there. Are we alone? That was the main cover. And so seeing that there and now here, what are we?
It's We Are Not Alone. That was
We Are
the
Not Alone.
cover. Yeah, they changed it too. So.
And here we are 4 years later.
Yeah.
And now they're coming out with this UK UFO documentary. Or docu-series. I mean, I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to be done right. I mean, I wonder if our buddy has anything to do with it over there.
I have no idea what's going on or who's doing it, but someone is trying to push some stuff forward, aren't they?
Yeah.
And in less promising news, apparently China has built a hypersonic generator that can power an unimaginable weapon. The only reason I bring this up to any of our attention is the fact that it states that it is a power source, or could be a power source, for powerful military lasers, railguns, and surprise, 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 as Gomer used to say, microwave weapons. Well, golly, look at that. But microwave weapons, boys and girls, those things that create, 1.6 gigahertz of energy sometimes, and headaches, and brains exploding, and Havana syndrome. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So we'll stay on top of this. That is late breaking, literally 4 hours ago. So, if this were live, it would make sense to you. But by the time you hear this, I'm sure it'll be over everything. And if it's not, then it was
real. But remember, we covered it first.
Well, if you don't see it, that means it was really important.
By the time that people listen to this,
or if you don't see it, where none of us are here.
Guess it worked. Huh.
We got railgunned into oblivion.
Well, that's the news, and, et cetera, et cetera. Well, that was fun. So, as you...
News.
What is it?
I said it was a super cheery way to end the news.
I know, right? I'm not going to do one of those little happy stories. Oh, and here we have a nice puppy. No, the puppy got sent to Mars. There's no air on Mars.
Oh, man.
Well,
good night, folks. But anyway, so yeah, we did a thing there, didn't we? We had we talked about this a little bit. We went out. We got to film a little bit with our friend. He wanted us to come out and do a little documentary. We did it and cut the documentary into a nice little video for us, about 20 or so minutes long. Popped it up on the YouTube, and apparently people like it.
That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
It's only up for 24 hours.
Yeah.
As of right now.
Yeah, and it's doing very, very well. You can go over and watch that because it's pretty good. But what we're going to be talking about is some of the weird things that happened while we were doing that. And it's kind of strange because all this stuff just seems to be happening all at once, right? Because, we've got that going on. We've got, let me see, I've got some video here for us. Let me pull this up. Joseph, you want to talk a little bit about some of the things that may have been, interesting to you while
Yeah.
we were out there? Go ahead and hit that while I'm looking for some video.
So while we were getting set up, we met out in the right out in front of Salt Fork Lodge because we did this during OBC, the night before Ohio Bigfoot, and the following evening we'd recorded a little bit with Glenn, and but we were heading out to the site where he had actually had his first sighting, and we were documenting it. We had this absolutely gorgeous moon, and the moon that evening was actually just coming up over the horizon, and as it was coming up over the horizon, it had started to
explode.
It had actually just came out of an eclipse.
No, it didn't explode. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it didn't explode. No. It had just came out of a full eclipse that was not visible in North America, so it still had that eerie orange tinge to it, even though we had this beautiful...
Man, that orange tinge had nothing to do with that eclipse. It had everything to do with the fact that it was rising over Salt Fork, one of the spookiest places
it really is.
that you could ever imagine, like literally eerie to stand there and see this thing coming up over the horizon. I'm like, oh, look, it's like a blood moon. That's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we were standing on the edge of the water, so we were getting the moon coming up between two mountains, and then smacking off the water, and it created this long stretch. It was gorgeous to actually be able to stand there and witness this event. And we were recording the whole time, and it was really wild, because it was almost surreal, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really cool. It was very neat. We, because we did get to go to several of the spots there where he had seen his, had his sightings, and apparently they had a lot of sightings there near Hosa Cave.
Yeah.
And, there was someone had died there recently. We talked about that before.
Yeah, a couple
Again, it's very important to understand. No one has said anything on the video. There's been no comments whatsoever about the, questions, whatnot. Please feel free. Ask questions. Yeah. We don't really have many answers. And what we do have, we'll tell you. But, we don't really know what was going on out there. We don't know why these things happened. Well, we do know that there was some weird stuff that happened. There was some battery drainage. There was some weird flash that we had seen. There was a strange little orby-looking thing caught on thermal. And, of course, there were UAPs. Again, it seems like those things follow us wherever we go at this point. I do believe that whatever we do next, people are just going to want to come just because at this point.
Yeah.
It's like...
It's really
it's
odd.
Weird. It's weird. It's too weird for me.
It just goes to show that how far-reaching the phenomena is, and not necessarily Bigfoot phenomena, but the UFO UAP phenomena. These are what we are capturing in the sky. They're not balls of light. We're not seeing spheres of light. We're not seeing orbs. They're invisible to the naked eye.
Yeah,
but we're detecting heat signatures that are spheres. There's no flapping movement. We actually even got to document bats and some nocturnal birds that night. And you can clearly see the difference between one and the other because we did that on purpose. And it turned into this just wild evening because it started with the UAP thing. I saw a weird flash. Nobody else had a flash.
No, there was no flash.
And then we looked up. Sure enough, we're capturing these UFOs up in the sky. We don't know what they are. They're the same shape as what we've captured before. They're moving in the same kind of manner. They're moving at extremely high rates of speed.
Now, what's very interesting about this clip that you're seeing, I'm playing a clip right now. If you're listening on podcast, you might want to go over and actually watch it. I'm going to be playing some clips here from the actual files that we have that I put the video together with. But these are our actual files. And as you watch this
is horizon to horizon.
Right. I want you to watch how it fades in, gets brighter, and then you're going to see it. It'll just kind of fade out there. Notice that? See that?
Yep.
So what's really impressive to me about this isn't the fact that, there's a UAP. It's the fact that it looks so much like the original one that we caught at Wild and Weird Con.
Well,
Now,
they've all looked this like the one we captured there, you know?
but wait. I went a little step further. I actually put these things side by side so we can see the difference in them. And you are not going to believe what I found. So watch this. Here we see the Salt Fork footage. And here we see the Logan footage. Watch what happens. This is a horizon to horizon. Whatever that is, it's in the atmosphere. It's up there. You can see it, right? I mean, that's what we're seeing right here. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Do they happen to be moving in the same direction?
No.
No.
These were this is the real-time direction of these objects.
Yep.
One's moving literally in the opposite direction of the other. But what is more impressive is that you can see that fade out as they near the horizon.
Yeah.
Birds don't do that.
Nope.
That is not a bird. That is what I'm getting at. So
well, we captured birds. You can actually see the oscillation of the wings.
Yeah.
And you can see the heat signature in what's technically the armpit of the bird, which is where its feathers are the thinnest. You can actually
well, you can definitely see the wings moving. We caught the bat that was out there. We've caught birds before. Those are all over on the website. On our on our actual yes, the pics are over there. We've got the whole thing. But on top of that, I've also written up this report. It'll be over there now. You can go read the full report of everything that happened. And for those who don't want to do that, that's fine. We'll just talk about it here and bore you if you're not interested in it. But if you're interested in it and find this stuff fascinating, and as I do, you're going to see that there's definitely some sort of pattern here, right?
Yeah.
Or at least there seems to be, right?
And it's just really bizarre.
This is a zoomed in view of it.
Notice there's no oscillation in the wings.
No oscillation
where
whatsoever.
wings would be. This is just a sphere that took 7 seconds to go horizon to horizon.
Oh, that's real time. That's real time. So I know that some are like, we're saying, oh, well, that's just a satellite. Satellites don't move this fast. That's not a satellite. We also had, the astronomy guy there. He's, Mike. He said the same thing. I know what's up there. That shouldn't be up there. Yep. And, I'm going to take his word for it. That shouldn't be up there.
He was the president of the Astronomy Society he's a member of.
Now, we can actually slow it down and see if we see any flapping, too. Again, no flapping. That is a static object with a thermal heat source that is just moving, and it is booking. This is at 50% speed, and you can see it going from horizon to horizon. Look at that.
I'll tell you what it reminds me of. It reminds me of that video that came out of Argentina of that person flying a plane and that the object zoomed past them. This reminds me of that, but just ground level.
Oh, you mean the speed?
Same type of
how fast it is?
Yeah. Now, when you really go in particular with the Logan footage, because the atmospherics were so much cleaner there. When we zoomed in so far on the object that was there in Logan, you could actually see almost a ring around the object that was cold, because it showed up in black, and these were both being used in white hot mode. And so when something shows up black, then that's cold. When something shows up white, then it's hot. And the object itself had heat, but there seemed to be a black ring around it. And that was very reminiscent of the Nimitz footage.
Yeah.
When you zoomed in and looked at that object, there was a ring around that object that was a vastly different temperature than what the core of the object was, which is unusual.
Whoa. Did you see that? You saw it? You saw it, right? Well, in the thermal, it wasn't a flash. One of them.
That was when you saw the flash. And we're now watching this through.
Whoa. Did you see that? You saw it? You saw it, right? Well, in the thermal, it wasn't a flash. one of them.
No flash visible.
Nope.
And there's no flash on the IR or the full spectrum. And when you said that, that's when I saw the little guy that we had been watching here. This little guy, boom, right there. That's literally when you said, what was that?
I think this just proves that people need to be looking up more often.
People don't look up. And I think that's one of our biggest issues. I mean, but what's really weird is we had did that, and then Glenn had said something about he was telling us about the lights where they had seen orbs years ago across the lake, and he's like, there was lights over there. As soon as he says lights, it's no more than like 2 seconds, maybe 2.5. That I'm scanning, and boom, there it is again. It just like it pops out of nowhere, and there's another one overhead. These things were plentiful. Let's put it that way. Whatever they were plentiful.
And
Yeah.
we shortly after that, there was a creek that had a bridge across it and all that, and it was up the trail. Maybe.
No. We had the battery drain before that,
Well, yeah, the battery drained at the same time.
which was impressive.
Place. I guess when we noticed the battery drain, and
That
both
was
of our cameras were both at the same level. They were
Dude.
both drained to the same point.
This is it's something that you didn't know also, because again, I just went over this while I was writing the report. How long do you think that the full spectrum was actually running?
I'd say probably about 45 minutes to an hour.
That's what I thought. We're wrong.
How long was it?
27 minutes.
Really?
27 minutes. And then finally toward the end, it may have been 30 at tops. But remember now, because I would turn, I would only record when we needed to record. But it was on. But still, that thing's supposed to run for almost 2.5 hours just on its internal battery alone.
Right.
There was no reason. It's 100% charged.
And our Insta360 is supposed to run for up to 4 hours. And it was at a quarter charge.
We're experiencing some equipment drainage. This was just charged. I just charged this.
Oh, this was fully charged. It's almost at a quarter battery. Yeah, I charged.
Check the Geiger counter over there. See where we're sitting. What are you running at? 26. Okay, nothing spectacular there. Yeah, I'll see that.
And I charged it last night.
So you just charged this, right?
Yep.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. We saw battery drainage. There was no radiation. There was no ionizing radiation or non-ionizing radiation. I want to make that clear because we have picked those things up in the past before.
Yeah, we have.
Now, to be fair, I did not have the spectrum analyzer running with us there. Again, we weren't really going on an investigation. This was just, I took a few little things with us, just in case we needed them or we wanted to show them off at the table or something like that, at the show. But I don't know, man. I don't know what happened.
You guys are finding more and more evidence that you guys actually did go through time loss, but you just didn't happen to check the time.
Yeah. I don't know. I couldn't. I think that the time is there. I did check that as far as the machines. So recording wise, it checks. We were where we should be at the right amount of time that we should be. So I don't see anything like that. Well, what happened later on, I couldn't tell you. But now, Joe, you were mentioning the other part where you went up the trail.
Yeah. So there's a few things at play here. There had been a fatality on that trail over one of the overhangs there. There was Bigfoot history there. There was a lot of Native American history there. And Salt Fork as a whole has more weird paranormal history than Bigfoot activity when you really start looking at it all. So we've got this thing that we do, and it's not hokey. It's not us trying to be trendy or whatever. But we'll normally take tobacco offering, as a just as paying respect to our ancestors and paying respect to what's there on the land. Because back in First Nations time, like when they were the people here running the show, tobacco was a sacred.
Tobacco still is sacred.
Well, yeah, it is still sacred, but it was one of the things that they carried in their medicine bags. They would leave it as offerings, things of that nature. So, and on top of that, Wayne Barnes, the original third party here for Wild and Weird Radio, he had given me this big bundle of tobacco shortly before he passed. And that's the tobacco that we use, when we go out and do this stuff. And Glenn and Wayne is how we all really got together.
Yep.
And how we got to know Glenn was through Wayne. And so it was all just this it's a special moment, and there was the creek and everything up there. So I went up, I got up over the creek and sprinkled some tobacco up there on the ground, and as just a peace offering and in respect. And as I was walking back out of there, Ron starts saying, hey, hold up.
Yeah, because we got.
Oh yeah.
Because while you guys were all looking that way, I swear it was like a shadow going across. You can't see it with that thing. That's all right. You see how it's white?
Let's back out.
It's like a shadow just going across.
There's something right here, guys. And it's moving. It's literally right in front of us.
Well, it's interesting to me because we've got a shadow. He saw a shadow.
Yeah, Glenn saw a shadow.
Glenn saw a shadow. Now, I didn't see a shadow. None of us saw a shadow. He saw a shadow as you were walking back. That's exactly what he says. You were coming back down the trail. He saw a shadow. So when I pointed in that area thinking, hey, maybe I'll see a gold spot, whatever. Nope, I see this little dot, that little orb thing up there. So, what it was, I couldn't tell you. But here is the a little bit longer look at that orb. I've zoomed in.
The orb is that blinking speck that's in the shrubbery there. It'll come back in just a second.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. Right in the middle.
That pulse is pretty bright there for a second. That was you getting ready to go up and chase it. And I don't know. I don't know what it was. I know you went up on the trail looking for it. You thought you were talking to a possum.
Yeah. So fun story here. I'm actually probably 10, 15 yards away from wherever this thing was. And I thought that where I was looking at on the screen, because I was looking on Ron's telephone screen, not looking through the thermal imager. And I assumed the way he was holding everything, it was like this. And I, for whatever reason, my brain said, oh, it's straight ahead. So I'm just going to go straight ahead. And he had the thermal imager kicked off to the angle there and was just viewing through his phone. And so I went up towards where I thought the light was, the heat signature. When I get right up on top of it, there I hear like a little rustling, like something, I spooked something. A little rustling in the leaves right there beside me. So I stopped and I looked and I saw a little furry thing. I thought it was either a baby raccoon.
What did it look like? Do you remember exactly what it looked like?
Yeah, it was about the size of a baseball. And it was furry, had like a gray white fur, which is why I thought either possum or raccoon. And it was a baby. I thought it was a baby. Because that's not uncommon for like a kit to get kicked off and lost and wander away from its mom. And normally they fall victim to predators. And, being completely honest, if it was a possum, I was probably going up sticking it in my pocket and bringing it home. And because possums are awesome.
What could go wrong?
Right? What could go wrong there? Because little possums are cute. They get gnarly and scary looking, but they're sweet little critters. So I was going to give him a helping hand. And so I knelt down and I was just kind of rubbing my fingers. You know, like when you got a cat and you're like trying to make it think you got something.
You
in
were
your hand?
whistling. We heard you on the
Yeah.
the video. You can hear you up there whistling.
Yep. I'm making noises to it, trying to get its attention to come to me. And then like it stops and based off what I was seeing and what I've had experience with in the past, this thing was getting ready to start moving towards me. And then Ron yells, "Where'd it go?"
No, I said, "What are
Or
you
something.
seeing?" Yeah,
Yeah,
we're-
what are you
'cause-
saying? Yeah,
yeah, because you're like, "There's this pause," and then you're like, "It's possum." And I'm like, "It's possum." What?
Yeah. So then when I turn to look his way and turn back, I hear the in the leaves, and then it's completely gone. Nowhere, can't see it with my flashlight, can't see it anywhere. It's not showing up on a heat signature anywhere. It was just really, really freaking weird.
It was weird. It was
You know,
very
it kind of
weird.
reminds me, in Japanese mythology, there are these little fuzzy balls of spirits. They look like dust, but the word translates to
They're
sprite.
called orbs. They're called orbs. I've seen lots of photos of them. No,
If
I'm
you watch
sorry.
any of Hayao
I had to.
Miyazaki's movies, they're like in a lot of his movies. These little black fuzzball things.
Yeah,
Kind of reminds me of.
Yeah.
kind of like a tribble but floats.
Yeah.
Yeah, those. I know what you're talking about though in those anime films. I've seen some of those.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was real weird, and I don't know what to make of it because it just moved. It sounded, there was no more noise going through the leaf litter, and everything was super dry. So it moving through the leaves, I'd have been able to hear wherever it was going.
Well,
There was just a real quick shuffle in the leaves.
yeah.
It wasn't under the leaves because I turned the leaves over, and it was really weird.
Well, you guys both went up there, and then of course
Yeah,
the
Glenn
battery
came up
died.
behind me, and then we started trying to go out to where the thermal actually was marking at.
And then it was dead.
Yep.
And everything just goes dead, and that's like, well, time to go. So we did. I mean, which we were leaving anyway when we hit that thermal, the little
Yep.
orb thing. We were on the
Yeah,
way
we were-
out
We were cutting everything out
because
turning
our
cameras
batteries were
off,
dying.
packing up, getting ready to call it.
Yeah, because our batteries were dying. So the last bit of image, power I had left on that full spectrum was literally tracking, watching you guys up there in the woods, and then it just died. But I don't know. I mean, if we look at this, if we didn't have any of the data that we already have, we didn't have the wild American data, if we didn't have the wineberry data, if we didn't have the what's the other place? There was another one. Data. Which was it?
The beach data.
The
data
beach
from the
data.
house.
The house data. If we didn't have any of that data, oh wow, look at that. It keeps playing. If we didn't have any of that data, I would be like, oh well, it's probably just a wild animal. We hit, I don't know. I mean, there's probably a couple of them up there. You saw one, and then I obviously hit one over there on thermal. I can't explain that UAP. It's out, but maybe just maybe some kind of little animal that was crawling around up there. I don't know. I mean, you got me, but seeing the other stuff and the one at the deep end, which is what got me, because that's what it looked like. It looked like that thing we saw
did,
visibly.
but the
It was
main
visible.
difference is that it was
visible.
visible to the naked eye, where this wasn't.
Yeah, it's the exact opposite of what we saw, which was weird. But that's kind of what it looked like. It was just, except it was visible. And this one was completely invisible. And what's really odd is you really think about it is I'm also running the full spectrum at that time. It's not showing up on full spectrum. If there had been an animal, I would have thought we'd have caught eye shine. We'd have caught something. We had headlights on. We had those LED Lenser freaking lights on. Me and Maria, we were lighting the place up.
Or if
You were
it's
also
backwards too,
using
you
it-
would have seen a heat signature.
You were also using it in red hot mode at that time.
I did use it in red hot mode. That's right.
And so the hottest portion of that creature would have silhouetted red.
Yeah,
So you would have seen a red blob in there. So
That's a
whatever
good
this
point.
was
just under
just above
the background
temperature of the background.
temperature, right? Yeah,
So
which
red.
is weird. What is it?
I said, it's a reptilian.
Yeah, I know, right? It's
Yeah.
it's kind of cold blooded. It's a cold blooded orb. We found them. They're cold blooded orbs. Everybody. No, I'm kidding.
That's it.
They're not. They're not. But I don't know what it was. I just know that it was a weird night.
Yeah.
And that's all I can pretty much say about it.
So, Brandon, you watched the video. What was your take? What are your takeaways from it?
Well, that last thing was kind of weird how it would just pop in and out. And that's how people often describe seeing those lights in the woods. They'll disappear, reappear. Sometimes they'll get bigger and then shrink into nothing. Like weird stuff like that. That's just what that reminds me of. Those descriptions, except you just didn't see it with the naked eye. Or did you?
I don't know, man. I really don't know. I don't know what we saw. It's one of those things. It's just one of those things. We can sit around probably and think about it, and we could probably pick it apart, like I said, and completely skeptically analyze it and say it's nothing. But by the time we look at all this other data we got, if we look at that, we have to look at this a little differently, don't we? I mean, I think that's the big problem that we have. If we weren't blessed with the mountain of data over here that says, well, this is weird, we wouldn't even be looking at it, but we are looking at it.
And we have had that other data analyzed by other people other than us.
Yeah, it's not just us.
By literal experts in thermal technology. So they were unable to put a finger on it either.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I just know that, we're going to continue to get out there and collect more of this data, obviously, because there's something going on. And I don't know. Why are we doing it? I mean, I think that's the number one question. Why are we doing it? Because what do we hope to find, I don't know that we're going to find anything. So why are we wasting our time? That's what I want to know, Joe. Tell me now why we are wasting our time chasing these weird little lights out there in the forest, these Bigfoot type sightings that aren't quite Bigfoot, that show up with these lights shooting across the sky. Why in the world would anyone in their right mind go out there and put themselves through this?
Well, for starters, a day out in the woods doing this, even hunting a mystery, an unknown, a complete unknown, is better than a day sitting on the couch watching TV. I'd rather be out doing that than nothing.
Sitting at home, with kids screaming at you.
Well, even without the kid, like, well, I'll take my kids out and go do this stuff. I'm totally fine with that. But it's one of these things where not many other people are doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Not many other people are paying attention.
That's the answer I wanted you to get at.
They're dismissing a lot of these stories. They're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And we've talked about this multiple times, how we are and all the data on the table, and the data doesn't care what your feelings are. The data doesn't care about your beliefs. The data is the data.
What did Glenn say? Your belief is irrelevant.
Yeah, your belief in this phenomena is irrelevant. is what Glenn said. It's 100%, and it's 100% accurate.
Yeah, it is.
It's
it doesn't care.
It doesn't stop this phenomena from existing. It doesn't stop it from being part of our world, even though we can't understand it. We chase these physical Bigfoot reports, and we collect tracks, and we have had these tracks looked at by leading members of the field, and had them scrutinized and picked apart, and for lack of any other kind of word, validated as possible subject species that we're after, the target species. Mm-hmm. And we also chase these phenomena that can't be quite as easily explained as a creature out in the woods.
What's weird to me, though, Joe, is we've done this with multiple witnesses multiple times now.
We have.
On several locations. And,
groups of witnesses who are moderately uninvolved.
Yeah.
We'll add.
Yeah, I will add that because, maybe they're curious, But they've, well, just like these here, they've never done anything like that.
You know, we had folks with us that went out at Wild and Weird Con that they're enthusiastic about the subject, but when it comes to the actual boots in the ground out in the field work, they had never done it before in their lives, and they'd never been on that end of it. And when they were it blew open their brain hole. Like
Yeah.
they're now like, oh my gosh, there's way more out here. This art that I'm making might not just be just art. There might be more to what I'm making with this whole phenomenon.
Been just a wild legend, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then, you know, we've had people who were part of the community when we were filming with Seth.
Yeah.
And we were doing a Bigfoot filming, and so this segment won't make it in because it was after everything was already done. Then we went UFO hunting together, and we actually captured one, possibly two, of these objects up there.
Same thing
at the Wanbury site that looked just like the videos that you've seen previously. And Seth and Eli were like, "Oh, yeah, that's not normal. That's different." And they experienced it from a different perspective. And we had people out with us this time at Saltburg that one had, the daughter, Glenn's daughter, had never gone out bigfooting with him, have never gone out on any kind of paranormal looky-loo, nothing like that. And she got to experience and see something that she couldn't explain right along with us. And it opened up a whole different perspective of her world.
You guys might have changed her life.
Well, I think that's what this thing does. If you go out there and you actually look at it and you look at the data that you're ignoring sometimes, if you don't ignore it and you look at it and you have to try to figure out where it fits in, if you see where it fits in, it starts telling a different story, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, and that was a prime example with Mike. Mike saw this. Mike knows what's up in the sky. Mike has watched satellites go over using a telescope. Mike has done viewings of, these space bodies for years and never captured anything like this. But when he's seeing it on thermal, he's like, yeah, that's not what is up there. That's not what I know is up there.
Mm-hmm.
What I've watched doesn't move like this, et cetera, et cetera. And it changed his perspective as well. And when it really boils down to it, I think that it's that we are sticking to our name and our label that we self-proclaim ourselves as the paranormal ambassadors. And we are spreading the wild and weird and taking people and showing them what's actually out there.
Wait, does that make us the high strangeness apostles?
No, that doesn't. No.
I'm going to start. Yeah, I'm going to start writing letters to other paranormal groups.
Dear Rome, here's why Bigfoot is real.
Yeah.
Dear Philippians.
Anyway,
Thessalonica, this is why.
So
UFOs are flying over you.
Basically, what we're saying is, if we come to your town and we're doing something in your town, you might want to come out and hang out with us, maybe, because the after show party I hear gets kind of wild sometimes. That's what I'm saying.
That is definitely what it seems.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Speaking of which, where are we going to be next, Joseph?
Well, like I said, for those of you guys listening right when this episode drops, you're going to be able to catch us tomorrow at Woodbooger Jamboree in Racine, West Virginia. If you are wanting to catch us on the road next, after that, we're going to be at the Withville UFO Festival.
Yeah, we'll be at Withville again.
And
where we will be probably debuting a little bit of some maybe new data at this point, possibly.
New data, because we're speaking.
We'll at least be talking about some new ways to look at that data.
And then The next event that we're booked for after that, we have a couple of library appearances and possibly a 4-H engagement, but we've
Oh,
got.
and I'll be doing this. Don't forget this. This is the
That's
July.
right. That's right. That's over. It's here locally at the St. Albans
And
Historical
I don't know if you guys know this or not. I went over there and checked the event page, but I mean, it's going to fill up. It's only been announced for 3 days, and they're probably 75% capacity at this point. So it's going to be standing room only. Be prepared for a very in-depth session. That's all I'm going to say about it.
It should be a good one.
It's going to be a good one.
Then we were just recently announced one of our secret speaking engagements we've been keeping under wraps finally came out. You're going to be able to find us August 4th and 5th at the Hawking Hills Bigfoot Festival. We're going to be doing our Bigfoot presentation with data review and showing off some of the track casts, and then we're just going to be hanging around at the festival, vending, doing our thing outside. So come down, hang out with us. It's 2 days, Hawking Hills. It's kind of a big street fair like Mothman Festival is, and it's gonna be crazy. Last year there was like 20,000 people, and this year they're expecting more. So we're excited to be up there. It's gonna. You okay?
No, you dropped out. You just said we were excited to be up there. It's going up.
Oh,
Yeah, I was wondering what happened.
well, I'll do that over a little bit. We're gonna be vending as well as speaking up there. It's gonna be a blast. You guys come hang out with us, and it's gonna be a great time. So catch us up there August 4th and 5th, and it's also gonna be like an early birthday party for me. So come hang out and bring cake.
Yeah, there should be cake of some sort. Maybe a brownie. I don't know. It's hard to say. But yeah, so we're going to be doing all those fun things here and a lot more, obviously.
Oh yeah, we're nailing down the workshop dates for the Bigfoot workshop this summer as well. I've been working with the state park on getting a good set of dates that's going to work for us, and those will be announced here soon as well.
We also have coming up, I believe this would be at Woodbooger. I had heard today that Beth may try to make an appearance at Woodbooger.
That's what I saw.
If that happens, that will be a first for you guys to actually get to speak with the primary witness of Wineberry.
And one of our standout members of our team.
Yeah. So expect a small panel if she does show up, is what I'm saying. So you'll probably get a bit of that. What else we got going on there at Woodbooger, Joseph? Didn't you say there's going to be like a town hall kind of a deal?
Yeah,
like
we
that?
had a mini town hall last year, and then this year we decided we're going to go a full-fledged town hall meeting at noon. So go grab yourself some hot dogs or something and swing on over to the shelter that we're going to be doing the demonstrations and stuff at. And we're going to be taking people's reports and doing a Q&A. And then around 2:30 or 2 to 3 o'clock, somewhere in there, depending on how the day's moving, we're going to be doing a data presentation where we show our TrackCast collection and we present some of the other data that we've collected, and then do another Q&A based off of that stuff.
Yep, it's going to be a fun time. So hopefully everybody can make it out there and whatnot. And I'd like to give a big shout out to Ron Murphy, because by the time you hear this, Ron will have been on, and would have talked about some interesting things at this point, I'm sure. Ron will also be joining us at some point in the future on an actual episode once we can get it nailed down, probably after his book comes out, something to that nature. We also have other guests that'll be making their way onto the show here shortly. We're not going to talk about any of that right now, other than to tell you that we have a few. If you would like to be a guest on Wild and Weird Radio, please take the time to basically contact us. That's what it takes. All you have to do is just, go there, wildandweird, wv.com, and hit the contact button. and you can contact us there. It'll mail us. There's a report tab there. There's all kinds of ways to do it. What's that, bud?
Two of the people are not investigators; they are just witnesses.
Witnesses? Well, there you go. So we've got witnesses that are coming on. We actually had a witness come on to live and tell their story a couple last week, right? Last week. So yeah, if you guys want to come on to these shows, all you got to do is get a hold of us. We'll make it happen. The more people who share their stories, the better off we are, in my opinion.
And you can also reach out to us at wildandweirdwv@gmail.com. If you just want to send it in, you want to avoid the forms and all that stuff, you can just send an email. We'll get you sorted and get you over on the show. If you want to continue to support Wild and Weird Radio and keep us free for eons and eons to come, remember, we still have our shop tab running, and you can jump over there, pick up some merch. We've got patches, we've got t-shirts, we've got all kinds of stuff you can order. We're going to be updating that list very soon with some more merchandise, so that way you guys will be able to order to your heart's content and get some stuff shipped out to you. And lastly, if you yourself have had a sighting of some kind of a strange light phenomena, or if you've seen Bigfoot, or suspect that you've had some kind of alien contact, then you can head on over to wildandweirdwv.com and hit the report a sighting tab. It's going to ask you a few detailed questions about things that were going on. They're important questions that we need to know. And then one of us will be in touch with you. And if you're within our viewing area where we live, if you're in our immediate area, then we will come investigate ourselves if the report is fresh. If you're outside of our immediate area, then we know investigators that we trust who are in your area, most likely, and can get somebody with boots on the ground to come and do their due diligence on collecting data for your sighting.
Yeah, I think it's important people know they're not alone in any of this, that it's normal to have sightings. It's normal to have these experiences. There's nothing wrong with it. The stigma has been lifted. It's taken decades and decades, but it has happened, and it's thanks to people like, yourself, who actually takes the time to hit that report button and, share your story, share your accounts.
So for everybody who's listening on podcast, remember, run over, give us a 5-star rating and review on whatever platform you're listening to us on, if you're able to do that, because I know a lot of them have pulled that option away. I think Apple and
iTunes still has it. We have some really amazing,
we do,
just incredible reviews over there that were awesome.
If you're watching over on YouTube, remember, hit that notification bell and subscribe, so that way anytime new content gets dropped, or if we're getting ready to go live, you're going to get a notification, and it's going to tell you, hey, look, these guys just dropped new hot stuff. Go watch it, and then go watch it and enjoy. Leave some comments below, and we'll answer there as well. And do not forget, every Thursday, right here, Wild and Weird Radio Live. It's a great show. Got
turning out to be something crazy, isn't it?
It is. The comment section's fantastic. We're building a great little community here, and it's just absolutely phenomenal. I can't wait to get back with the live shows here in a few weeks. It's going to be great. I've been missing it, and I think it'll be real fun to get back in the mix with you guys and having new guests in, and some of our listeners even joining in. It's going to be really fun.
Oh yeah. We got our listeners who can come on now, and like I said, it's growing every week. We get a little bit, more and more people. My only thing that I feel bad about is about the time we get off, we start getting the West Coast. I guess the sun's starting to go down on the West Coast, and they're like, "Hey, let's tune in," and then it's like, "Well, hey, we're off." But
maybe what we can do one day in the future. I remember seeing your recommendation of doing like a 13-hour show, but
that's probably not going to happen.
Is once we all get the kids to bed, we can hop on for an extra special live some night over the summer where we drop in on the West Coast during their primetime hours, and we just spend some time with our West Coast fans.
We could do that if the West Coasters are actually up for that. If you West Coasters want to do that, let us know. And
what's the anniversary for Roswell?
We'll make it happen. Oh, that'd be in July.
That's in July.
Hey, we could do it then.
Yeah.
Midnight, we can celebrate Roswell.
Yeah.
If people, we always do a Roswell celebration of some sort. So
yeah, it'd track. It makes sense.
It would
with you guys, and I can get my lot to bed. Brandon can get his lot to bed, and we'll get down here with you, and we can jump on this live and do a West Coast special.
Well, we'll
That's
do a
called
West
bed
Coast.
drill.
We'll do a West Coast special. We'll have. We'll see if we can drag up some special guests who may want to come on. It'd be awesome if we had some witnesses out that way. Maybe you've seen the Phoenix Lights or something like that. That'd be cool. You know.
The wild and weird West.
Yeah,
Coast.
West Coast edition. I like it. Let's do it.
Or if your great grandfather happened to witness Roswell.
Yeah.
Well, you know how that goes. But yeah. If you guys want to do that, get a hold of us. Let us know if you're interested in us doing that. And we'll make it happen. We'll come to your town virtually if we can't come to it physically. Let's put it that way. So.
And if you want us to come to your town, just petition local event promoters. Tell them that you want those crazy guys from West Virginia to come out and spend some time with you. Ron got it.
You see that? Yeah, man. Tell them you want your Wild and Weird radio. That's what you do.
Yeah, tell them you want your Wild and Weird radio.
Remember that?
New
You guys,
MTV.
you guys remember that?
New
Yeah,
MTV.
that's right.
Well,
Before
guys,
it went
thanks for
reality.
joining us. It's been a great show. We appreciate each and every one of you that join us week in and week out, and watch us or listen to us on your commute or in your cubicle and freak all your friends out. You guys are absolutely amazing. And remember, the next time you're walking around out in the woods and you see something that might be a possum or might be a raccoon, don't try to touch it. Don't be me.
Aware of like a shadow.
What's up there?
Want to cross that. No possum.
Possum? I don't know if that was a possum. Where it was. No, that's not a possum.
Yeah, that's not a possum.
God only knows what would have happened. I might not be here. Stay wild and weird, everybody.
It's true.